Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to get started. Welcome, everyone, to the November 17th Rules Committee meeting. And if we could get started with Mr. Dennis. Introduction, please.
Garrett Dennis, Administration.
Colleen Hampsey, Council Research.
Carla Schell, Office of General Counsel.
Trista Carraher, Council Auditor's Office.
Philip Peterson, Council Auditor's Office.
Ken Amaro, City Council, District 1.
Randy White, District 12.
Terrence Freeman, at large, Group 1.
Chris Miller, at large, Group 5.
Ron Salem, Group 2 at large.
Mike Gay, District 2.
Michael Boylan, District 6.
Last but not least, Rockman Johnson, District 14. The West Side just visiting, and the Jags are victorious.
Do we have any public comment cards? John, where are you? Okay, seeing none. You all should have a handout here on the agenda items. We're going to start out with the reappointment and appointments. So our first one is on page number 14, and it's item number 14, 2025-0816. We got a motion second on the bill. Is Mr. Mall here? Doesn't need to be, but just wanted to check. Okay, he's not here. All right, seeing no one in the queue, please open the ballot and record your votes.
Seven yeas, 0 nays.
By your action, you've approved 2025-0816. We'll now turn to item number 15, 2025-0817. We have a motion second on the bill. Is Mr. Garrison here, please? Mr. Garrison. All right. Mr. Dennis, please, you're recognized.
Through the chair to the committee, we'll like to defer this appointment. There's a little confusion. He's actually the chair of the Planning Commission, and the requirement for the Jacksonville Housing Community Development Commission that one commissioner must also be seated on that commission from the Planning Commission. So there's a little confusion on him appearing today, and if it's the will of the committee, if he could be deferred one cycle.
Okay, sounds good. We will do so. We'll defer one cycle. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll next move, same page, item number 16, 2025-0820. We have a first and second on amendment. Ms. Carraher, would you explain the amendment?
Through the chair to the committee, the amendment will attach a revised Exhibit 1, which is a copy of the Ethics Commission meeting minutes, to include a signed copy.
Okay, thank you. Is Chief Beckham here, please? If you would come forward, please. If you would just give your name and address for the record, and then tell us a little bit about yourself and your qualifications for this position. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. Angela Beckham, 11319 Scenic Point Circle. I respectfully request your support for appointment to the Jacksonville Ethics Commission. I recently retired from the military after nearly 35 years of honorable service, concluding my career as a command chief. As a committed member of this community, I value integrity and transparency and believe my background in military service, as well as my postgraduate education, prepares me well to serve on the Ethics Commission. Those experiences and the professional candor, competence, and sense of responsibility they instill make me confident I can contribute meaningfully to the Commission. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much, Chief. We'll now go to council. Okay, we had one go off the queue here. We'll go to Councilmember Boylan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Ms. Chief Beckham, I very much appreciated our conversation. I think you're going to be an excellent addition to this, and I'd like to have my name added as a co-sponsor.
All right, thank you. We'll next go to Past President Salem, please.
Thank you, Chair. I also spoke to Angela. Interestingly, she served under my brother in the military reserves, and he speaks highly of her as well. So I'm excited to get her on. Thank you.
Thank you. Next to Councilmember Amaro, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Angela, for responding to my questions. They were very detailed and speak to character and strength, and I look forward to your service. Thank you for your service in the military, and I look forward to what you're going to bring to the position on the Ethics Commission.
Thank you. Next to Past President Vice Chair Freeman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through the chair to Chief Beckham. One, again, thank you for your service. Going through your responses, some of the things that jumped out at me: one, active listener. Love when people truly understand that God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth, and it better equips us for addressing issues. Love the fact that you had this one term that I underlined here. Ultimately, I see collaboration as a way to strengthen ethical culture citywide. And I think that is a huge asset to the commission, filled with a lot of great people. And I think that collaboration will really help you all get to the conclusions that are going to be best for our city. So thank you for putting yourself forward, and I would like to be added as a co-sponsor.
Seeing no one else in the queue, I'd also like to be added as a co-sponsor. And Chief, thank you very much. We had a great conversation, and in fact, that was the highlight of my day, if not week and month, having that exchange with you. Got me really excited about you being willing to step forward and help our city out, and I'm sure there's much more that you can do if your schedule allows to be able to help our city move forward. So this to me is something very easy for you to do. It's not an easy assignment, but given your background, that's why I say that. You bring a wealth of experience and knowledge, and your education, and just your leadership that you bring to bear, checking and enforcing standards, helping us to establish new standards. So much that you bring. So I'm very excited to be able to support you in this position, in this role. So again, thank you for stepping forward and volunteering to do this. Seeing no one else in the queue, please open the ballot and record your vote.
Seven yeas, 0 nays.
By your action, you have approved 2025-0820. And Chief, I just want to let you know, at our next council meeting, full council meeting, we'll be recognizing you in the first part of the meeting. Not a requirement, but if you're able to show for that meeting, we'll recognize you and ask you to please stand so everybody could honor you for your volunteer service. Thank you.
I'll be here, sir. Thank you.
Next, we'll move on to, actually, we're going to have a presentation. We'll go to page 7 and 8, items 7 through 9, and we'll have Mr. Norman here to be able to talk to us a little bit about these collective bargaining agreements before we take them up. Mr. Norman, please.
Good afternoon, and through the chair, I'm Todd Norman. I'm the Chief of Employee and Labor Relations here at the city. I'm also the lead negotiator for the city when it comes to the 5 city unions. Today, I'm here to seek approval of our 3 civilian contracts, those of CWA, AFSCME, and LIUNA. Collectively, they represent about 2,600 city employees, everything from solid waste collection to library professionals. And I'm excited to say, after 10 months of sometimes difficult bargaining, I think we've reached employee fair and city budget-friendly contracts with some unique things in them as well. So, and I know on the agenda, it's got some bullet points of some of the highlights. I'm going to walk through a couple of those. I also sent out a 1-page summary of the agreements, and if you need a copy of that, I'd be happy to provide that as well. So first and foremost, wage increases. There are wage increases in all 3 years of the contract. Year 1, 4%, years 2 and 3, 3% respectively on those. And at the table, we had reached kind of a deadlock when it came to additional wage increases. So we were trying to think out of the box, and we came up with an alternative, and that was a one-time premium payment payable in year 2 of these contracts. That'll be paid in October of 2026. It's relatively small, $500 for employees over 5 years of service and $250 for those under 5 years of service. It's a one-time cost, non-reoccurring, less than a 1% wage increase, and it really recognizes employees that come to the city and stay. So we like that one. Parking was a really big issue. $60 to $100 a month is a big issue for employees that work downtown, especially those on the lower end of the wage scale. And so through bargaining, we agreed to a once a quarter supplement equal to approximately 1 month's parking, so about 1 month free every quarter, $60 every quarter. I think that's a really good thing for those employees, of which there's about 1,900 assigned downtown, so quite a few. We also had lots of discussion surrounding the lowest paid workers at the city. And by Florida statute, the city has to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour by September 30th of next year. Unfortunately, we have 200 employees approximately that each year this has been ratcheting up are getting pushed by that minimum wage going up. And we really felt that at a time when Amazon is starting at $24 an hour, you can walk by Buc-ee's and see what they're offering. We wanted to accelerate that process. We agreed to push that forward 6 months. So we're going to implement $15 an hour on April the 1st of next year. A good thing for those at the lower ends of the wage scale. So I think the biggest and most unique thing for me, and I've bargained quite a few contracts here at the city, is it wasn't just one-way bargaining. Our unions came to the table to help us address one of the biggest financial concerns the city is facing right now: high cost of health care and the financial stress on the city's health plan. So currently, as an employee, you have a choice. You either go to a no-cost plan, of which the city has 2, UF Health and a high-deductible plan, or you go to one of the other plans, the PPO, the HMO, of which the vast majority of our employees are in those plans. The city's plan has about 4,200 covered employees. 3,400 of those, plus or minus, are in a paid plan, not the one of the no-cost plans. So currently limited by contract right now, if you're in one of the paid plans, the employee only pays 5% of the premium. City picks up 95%. This is really low for the industry standard, which is greater than 20%. And to the credit of our unions, they came to the table and agreed to a tiered increase in that contribution level for the employee only. 5% where it is now, up to 30% at the end of the contract. We don't have to do it, but it gives us latitude. We're not bound by the contracts any longer if we want to increase that amount. To give you a reference point, each 5% for an employee is about $15 every 2 weeks, or $1 to $1.3 million annually, depending on the number of employees that are in a no-cost plan at that particular time versus a paid plan. So that's a really big one, and hats off to them with really digging in and wanting to understand the situation we're in. For those that have been to our health committee meetings every quarter, you'll see more and more union members in those meetings because they really do want to understand the problem we're facing. Certainly on the news and forefront of the city as well. That's all I had formal. I appreciate your support with these contracts. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your overview and the work that went into this. And I won't comment at this time. I'll save that for the end. We have at least one other person in the queue. I'll also want to go to Ms. Gallagher after we do this, but I'll first, for questions or comments, I'll go to Past President Salem, please.
Thank you, Chair. Through the Chair to Mr. Norman. As you went on, I'm very interested in this subject, and we're obviously going through our DOGE and have hired a consultant. Can you tell me what the city pays, or what is our cost for those no charge plans, the high deductible and the UF plan?
Don't quote me on these numbers, but I think they're in the range of $500 to $600 per employee per month.
It's what it cost us. So around between $6,000 and $7,000 we're paying for those plans. Can you tell me what we're paying per employee for the Florida Blue plans?
They're over 1,000. PPO is 1,200 range.
So approximately double. Okay. Can you, I noticed that you said the cost is $3.2 million. I'm sorry, 0.6 in 25-26, 1.1 in 26-27, and 1.5 in 27-28 for these increases in parking and such, correct?
That's for one contract.
That's for this contract.
That's for LIUNA. There's 3 of them in front of you today.
I hear you. What is the savings if you implement the 10% in 26, the 20% in 27, the 30% in 28 in all 3 of these plans, one at a time? Can you tell me?
I have not. I think one of the things that's an intangible that we will see when we eventually take advantage of that latitude is we're going to drive behavior. And an employee that's on the fence and in the HMO plan and the city's paying, $1,000, whatever it might be, plus or minus per employee per month, that $15 or $30 may be enough to get them to say, you know what, I'm going to leave the HMO, I'm going to go to UF Health, which is a significantly lower cost for the city. The extra amount that they might pay in premium doesn't offset the discount that we're going to get by them moving to a no-cost plan, because those plans are so much less expensive. So that's the intangible. That's going to drive behavior that will benefit the city's plans. So I think any calculation you're going to perform is really based on the additional income from that premium increase for the employee, but it's not going to take into account the change in behavior that's going to save us money.
Could you calculate that and get that to my office based on the enrollment today?
Yes, sir.
Because I think it's important to know the cost savings through these, because I share your concerns on all 3 of these union agreements. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Seeing no one else in the queue, Ms. Carrard, do you have anything else to add? Or Mr. Peterson?
Through the chair to the committee. No, sir. I think Mr. Norman covered the high cost elements of these contracts. There are smaller changes that are going into play where the safety shoe allowance that an employee gets is going up $20 a year, and not every employee would qualify for that. So there are other elements of the agreements that are changing, but they are really low cost dollar amounts. He definitely hit on the high points of all 3 agreements.
Okay. Thank you very much. And thank you, Mr. Norman. We're going to go to item number 7, 2025-0806. May I get a motion? We have a motion and a second on the bill. Seeing no one in the queue, please open the ballot and record your votes.
Seven yeas, 0 nays.
By your action, you've approved 2025-0806. Item number 8, 2025-0807. Have a motion and second on the bill. No one in the queue, please open the ballot and record your votes.
Seven yeas, 0 nays.
By your action, you have approved 2025-0807. Item 9, 2025-0808. Have a motion and second on the bill. No one in the queue, please open the ballot and record your votes.
Seven yeas, 0 nays.
By your actions, you've approved 2025-0808, and we have Past President Freeman in the queue.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll be brief. I just wanted to thank Mr. Norman for coming up, one, and two, to bring all of your attention that although you see him standing there so calm, cool, and collected, if you ever see him at a high school basketball game, you'll never see him stand still that long. So look forward to seeing you tonight at the game as well. His daughter's one of the top 3-point shooters in the state, so it's pretty fun watching her play. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Thank you. We'll now go to item number 6. It's on page 6, and it's 2025-0782. We have a motion and second on the amendment. On the amendment, Councilman Johnson?
Actually, I think there was something wrong, Mr. Chair. I had put in to speak on the last bill before we got to this bill. Would you mind me saying something, Mr. Chair?
Oh, yeah, please, go ahead.
I would just like to thank, I think Todd's gone, Mr. Norman, but Todd, thank you. I see you in the back. Keep going, keep going. I know you got to get back to work. Thank you from through the chair. Thank you for the great work you do. I want to just put on the record, as a union member for the past 25 years, I'm very involved with unions throughout, and one of the things that I heard that I've almost never been have heard before, which I've done in negotiations and contracts, the union here said this is probably the best agreement that they've seen in years. And so that emboldens us to let us know that not only the great work that they're doing over NHR, but the great work that we're doing means that people are seen and heard, even as something as small as parking, that it matters. So I look forward to this coming to the full council. And again, I have to thank our team because I didn't know until we did our project with the city council, the nuanced work of the Human Resources Department. So Todd, thank you. And thanks for letting me say that, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And before I move on to that bill, I wanted to say this earlier, and I forgot, and Past President Sam just reminded me here. I just wanted to recognize Past President Sam Newby has joined us. Thank you, sir. And so if we go, I believe we moved the amendment on that bill, correct? Anyone else? Okay, we'd like Ms. Caraher to please explain the amendment.
Yes, through the chair to the committee. The amendment will clarify that only the southern portion of Catherine Street south of Bay Street is being renamed. We'll clarify the various recommendations of the committees that reviewed the street renaming proposal. We'll include a waiver of section 745-105H of the code to allow only a portion of Catherine Street to be renamed. We'll correct the current address of the Fire Museum to 620 East Bay Street, and lastly correct some Scrivener's errors within the bill.
Okay, thank you very much. I also note that in neighborhoods, Chief Golden said no issues with this bill. All is good from his perspective. So I wanted to make sure we all heard the same thing. No one in the queue. All those in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying yes. All those opposed, no. The amendment passes. A motion and second on the bill as amended. No one in the queue, please open the ballot and record your votes.
Seven yeas, 0 nays.
By your actions, you've approved 2025-0782 as amended. And given that Councilman Johnson is here, are you remaining for 2025-0858 on page 30? On page 19, rather, item number 30. This was withdrawn at neighborhoods, but I just want to see if that's in line, actually, before we take it up, if that's in line with, or what you're okay with, given it was withdrawn.
So, I did see it this morning. The reason I didn't attend, Mr. Chair, is because from my understanding, it takes a while for the ramp up to happen. I was waiting to hear, I've been in communication with both Mr. Peterson as well as Mr. Fopoulos, waiting to get some information. While it's not officially, I was going to have the final result of the research that I was doing in finance. So I'm not ready yet to just withdraw it, at least from me, but obviously it belongs to the committee once it's put in. I will, however, speak to it with some definitive data by finance committee meeting time.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll now go to Past President Freeman, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And through the chair to Councilmember Johnson, Definitely supported when this first came through, and since then we've seen that the government has reopened. How does that impact what happens to these dollars now? If they're all getting their back pay and they're getting their monies moving forward, would this just go into a trust fund in case something like this happened again, or will we still be looking to distribute dollars?
So this is what, and thank you so much through the chair to former Council President Freeman. This is what I understand, and that's why I was looking to get some more data so that I could speak to it intelligently, that it takes a while for, and I'm sure obviously Colonel Miller would know more than us because of your connection to the federal government, but it takes a while for those funds to ramp, those to get back out to the communities. So that's why I wasn't in favor of just snatching it and withdrawing it completely, because my question was, how long is it going to take for those funds to get distributed and people to get the things that they didn't have? Yes, there will be back funds and pay or whatever, but the immediacy of us getting people fed can happen here. What I believe, based on what I'm learning, it may be a withdrawal. I'm still waiting. I just don't want to make a snap decision. Pardon the pun. I don't want to make just to jump to a decision or a conclusion. What I want to do is look at it like I did to come up with the SNAP Gap Relief Act, but to find out what is happening, what is the timeline for when it will happen, and then what we can do here locally. What I believe, I will not, and please don't hold me to this, but I will put it out here. What I believe that's going to happen is this amount is going to be severely reduced. It certainly will not be $2 million. I wouldn't support that, but I believe that there is help that is needed. I think Dr. Salem spoke to it when he spoke last week, and we've all been doing things in the community. There is still a great unmet need. SNAP exacerbated it, but there is still a need in the community. So what I'm trying to do is see if this is necessary. Obviously, we'll be doing other things as the year progresses, but I want to see what is the immediate need right now that have been created because of that shutdown, and I just don't have all the data at this point.
Go to past President Salem, please.
Thank you, Chair. To Councilmember Freeman and Councilmember Johnson, Susan King was at Neighborhoods this morning and spoke to this. She held a food event at Cecil Field Saturday, was prepared for 1,000 households, and only 250 showed up. Now, she indicated that could have been the location. There's many factors, but she expressed that they are in a good position right now due to the donations they're getting, the 200 that we put in, and I thought a very courageous thing for her to say was, I'm okay. I don't need anything right now. It's my responsibility to come to you if I see a need in the future. So that's what I'm paraphrasing, but I think that's basically what she said as we move forward. Councilmember Boylan was there, and he's shaking his head yes as well. So I just want to put that on the record. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll next go to Councilmember Amaro. You recognize?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Salem said exactly what I was going to say, because there are two things that led to the decision to withdraw earlier today. One, the General Counsel said that was one of the options that the bill sponsor, they had a conversation with the bill sponsor about. And then secondly, when Ms. King came to the podium and said that they're in a good place, and they'll ask when they need, and they won't take just because they can. And so I think those two elements is what led to the bill being withdrawn this morning. So.
Yeah, Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. With all due respect, while I certainly appreciate it and was able to watch the meeting this morning while I was pulling other data, one of the people that were not at the noticed meeting that was held was that organization. And while we did look at that organization when pulling forth to try to figure out what would be the best method to get to people, what I'm looking at is not just one of the things I understand with triangulation of data is that you don't want to look at one source. I think it's known that you want to look at multiple sources to triangulate it and make sure that you have the best information. And while I do appreciate Ms. King and the great work that she's doing for Feeding Northeast Florida, I also understand that they are not the only organization. And while they may be good, the focus of this bill, as was said in the intent of it and in the public record email, which I shared with the General Counsel's office, is to ensure that people are fed. And so while I certainly respect once the bill is authored and given to the council, it belongs to the council, it belongs to the committee, and I respect this legal process. However, I must also go through, at least in my mind, a sense-making process to ensure that if I'm saying the bill should be withdrawn, it's done so with some kind of standard scientific or some kind of data-based rationale for doing it. I'm not sure where we are now, and like I said, I'll be working to get more information, but I will certainly respect the pleasure of the committee. I hope that answers. Just wanted to speak to that so we understand where I am.
Okay, thank you. We'll next go to Past President Freeman, please.
And I'll just close with this. One, I think that what Councilmember Salem said is it really is a testament to how great our city is. When you look at the churches that stepped up, and you think of 1122 putting $5 million in. I know at Celebration Church there was a call for 25,000 canned goods to be dropped in, and every store within close proximity was out of canned goods, on top of monies given directly to current military families that were in attendance for all of their services. It was $1,500 checks each. So I think that decline through the chair to Councilman Salem is a testament to the work that our community did, nonprofit space in the churches. I'll also add a caveat that during COVID, working with Farm Share, I served over 8,000 families. Did many of them in your districts. Miss Councilmember Gay was up on the north side at Patrick Catholic Church. Mayport was with Councilmember Salem, Councilmember White. We did one at Ed White. And so there are other entities as well. Northeast Florida is definitely, I would say, at the top of the food chain when it comes to doing it. Their ability to capture a lot of donors, volunteers, and get it out there. But there are other organizations as well that do it. And I think that I would definitely like to have that included.
Thank you. Back to Past President Salem again. Thank you.
Yeah, very quickly, I just want to add one point to Councilmember Freeman's comments. She indicated to me, and I think to the council, that the 200 that we did sent a message out there to the churches, to everyone, that we were participating as well. And I think it encouraged the churches, community organizations, philanthropists to give even more, because we recognized the need. Thank you.
Thank you. And no one else in the queue. I just wanted to echo some comments that some of my colleagues have made here. And as I said at council night, to me, this is what right looks like when the communities, the nonprofits, us as council members can listen to each other, come together, and figure out a good way forward. So I really believe this is a good example of what right looks like when we're all working and doing our roles as we've been called to do. I am inclined to withdraw this or recommend withdrawal and suggest someone introduce a withdrawal, but I wanted to go to our general counsel to make some comments about that. So I want to make sure we're on the right plane, given the introducer's intent regarding finance. I want to make sure we're in a good path here if we do follow suit with neighborhoods with a withdrawal.
Through the chair to the committee. So just as a refresher, most of you were there this morning, but neighborhoods voted to withdraw this bill. You have a couple options here today. It is marked for emergency. As you might recall, last week at council, it was marked for emergency passage upon introduction. The introducer requested that it not be taken up in that manner, and it come to committees this week for a possible amendment for emergency passage after one cycle. Upon further reflection, my office determined that because the meeting was held on a Wednesday, there was not adequate notice given of this emergency. So for that reason, I recommend you do not vote to approve the emergency. So your options, therefore, if you want to take up the emergency and vote it down, it would convert to a second reading. It would go through a normal legislative cycle. That's one option. The other option is if someone wants to move to withdraw, you can do that today. And if that's passed, it'll be on the agenda for withdrawal.
We have a motion on a move to withdraw and a second. We have Past President Freeman in the queue.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I was going to actually move for it to go through the full cycle, only because my colleague asked. And I've watched on this council now for the last at least year or so, last 2 years, where certain council traditions have not been afforded. The last time that I really saw a council not be willing to give it to someone, there was an individual that was at odds with others, and we took that away. I don't think it's going to change anyone's mind up here if it runs another 6 weeks or runs through the process. I don't think it's going to take up more time because we choose if we want to debate or not, but it does give a council member who said that they want to do more research, do their due diligence on behalf of constituents, to do that. And then we can turn around, stay quiet, they get their 2 minutes or 3 minutes, and then we vote our hearts. But to just simply take it away after he's asked, and I think that's going to move forward on another bill that we talk about today, is when we start having these knee-jerk reactions where we just want to get rid of something, and you have a colleague up here right now that is saying that he would rather it go back into the committee.
Okay. All right. We have Council Past President Salem withdrawing his withdrawal. So that puts us. Do we have to vote on that, Michelle?
Mr. Chair, you don't have to vote on it, but if you could ascertain whether there's consensus among the committee, that would be acceptable.
Okay. Are we okay with that, everyone? Councilmember Boylan? We okay? Okay. Okay. We have a motion on the emergency and a second. And as per your guidance, Michelle, would you just restate that, please?
Through the chair to the committee, I recommend you vote down the emergency. It wasn't adequately noticed, so it's not legally sufficient to take it up today.
Okay, thank you very much. All those in favor of the emergency, please say yes. All those opposed, no. The emergency is fails or is denied. Now, where are we, Michelle?
Through the chair to committee, so now the legislation will convert to a regular cycle, so it's on second read today, so no further action is needed.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we put that on the record, and thank you very much, Councilmember Johnson, for going through this with us. Appreciate it. All right, we will now, let's see, make sure I'm going to the beginning. Unless there's something else someone has recognized, we're going to the beginning of the agenda. Item number 1 is deferred at the request of Councilmember Diamond. That's 2024-0627. Item 2, 2024-0966 is deferred at the request of Council President Carrico. And item number 3 is 2025-0765. We have a motion and second on the bill. Seeing no one in the queue, please open the ballot and record your vote.
Six yeas, 0 nays.
By your action, you've approved 2025-0765. Item number 4, 2025-0775 is deferred at the request of Councilmember Carlucci. Item number 5, 2025-0781. We have a motion and second on the neighborhood substitute. Could we go through the neighborhood substitute, please, Ms. Carr?
Yes, sir. Through the chair to the committee, the neighborhood substitute will include the oversight departments within the bill and term sheets. We'll correct the account information within the bill and attach a revised Exhibit 1, which is the BT. We'll authorize carryover of funding for the Edward Waters University and UNF projects. We'll attach a revised Exhibit 3, which is the Edward Waters University term sheet, to include a deadline to complete the project, which is September 30th, 2028, per Edward Waters University. We'll clarify the audit rights apply to the entire project. We'll require that EWU provide support showing evidence of project financing prior to commencement. We'll strike the reference to the fiscal 26-27 funding from the city. will clarify that the city's proportionate share is no more than 37.5% for the design, planning, and permitting of the project. Will clarify that city funds will be dispersed on a reimbursement basis with appropriate documentation submitted prior. We'll attach a revised Exhibit 4, which is the term sheet for workforce industrial training, to clarify the city fundings will only be used to reimburse training for Duval County residents. We'll attach a revised Exhibit 5, which is the term sheet for UNF, to include a deadline to complete the project, which is September 30th, 2027, per UNF. We'll clarify the audit rights apply to the entire project. We'll add that reimbursements will be on a pro rata basis, with city funds getting reimbursed at 50% and UNF for also 50%. We'll add that UNF shall provide support showing that they have their $6 million funding available to begin the project. And lastly, we'll attach a revised Exhibit 6, which is FSCJ, to add language that the purchase price cannot exceed the value identified by an appraisal for the building, and extend the recoupment period to include 10 years from when the Training Institute begins operations, but not later than January 1st, 2029.
Okay, thank you. We have Past President Freeman on the queue. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I know that the rest of you all went through this in neighborhoods and only got to watch bits and pieces of it. And then in my pre-agenda meeting, kind of get some review. So definitely have many questions. And before I take a vote on an action, I wanted to at least be able to put my thoughts out. One, I want to thank Councilmember Arias for all of his hard work. He definitely did his part of bringing these in small groups and giving everyone a chance to be heard. However, when I look at what's in front of us, I'm not necessarily sure I see the results of it, or at least some of the suggestions that I heard in those meetings. And so my question through the chair to our auditors, our attorneys, is if we had any recommendations that we brought up in those committee meetings, in those notice meetings, if we wanted to add them, is now the time to do it, or after we vote on this substitution and then offer amendments?
Through the chair to Councilmember Freeman, I would recommend that you pass the substitute to have it before you, and then if you want to make amendments and changes, to do that at that time.
Okay, and that's what I thought. And so I just want to be able to explain my no vote right now when we do it, and I'll tell you why. As a council, we're at a crossroad right now. I watched almost every minute of the budget process. I watched Councilmember Salem and many others fight the good fight for our future, the future that we're leaving for our kids. And a lot of it was with savings. And I remember, Councilmember Salem, your year as president, or your year as finance chair, you said a number, it was like $9 million, and we worked our tails off to not go above it. I listened to one of our most practical numbers, common sense council members on this dais, and Councilmember Lanin, on one of the items brought up, he mentioned, why is this coming last minute? To which no one answered. No one could explain to him on the day of the last vote, why one of these organizations were brought before him, and he was a no vote. But he also kept talking about where are we when we talk about capital incentives that are given, and he's running a tally of it. And I really want to wait and hear more tomorrow in finance when they talk through this. So I, in good faith, after watching the work that my colleagues, many of them are first termers and are going to be here again, I'm as a second termer who ran as a fiduciary conservative, really a fiscal conservative that really wants to make sure that I'm doing all I can to not position the city to be in a position where we're even making tougher cuts later. Am troubled by just one omnibus bill coming. I said in the beginning, I think that if we carved out universities, we left others in, the workforce piece, because I thought that this was $15 million for workforce. Now, I will say this, and I want to thank UNF for meeting with me and taking all of my calls. FSCJ, thank you for coming into my office and taking the calls. My first call on Ed Waters was to Councilmember Past President Newby. And at that time, he had no relationship with this process. And I was shocked. I really thought I was trying to, because I called all of them. I'm like, I am not in a good place right now when we're talking about giving dollars for capital. And I just watched the hours of work that they put into it. To this day, I still haven't had Ed Waters sit in my office to talk to me. Any information that I've gotten And this is happening. It's happened a little bit in LUZ, and I'm kind of putting it on the record now. I'm going to start, demanding is not the right term, but if I'm going to be asked to take votes that are going to be impactful to our budget significantly like this is, that organizations come and speak with me as a member of this committee. Finance rules, two of your top standing committees. And I'm telling you, I'm being asked to vote on something here, and everything I've gotten is hearsay. Many of you, and I'll ask through the chair to Councilmember Boylan, have you met with all three entities? Through the chair to Councilmember Gay, have you met with all three entities? No. Through the chair to Councilmember Salem, have you met with all three? Councilmember Miller, have you met with all three?
No, exchanges but not met.
Through the chair to Councilmember White, have you met with all three? Through the chair to Councilmember met with two. And I think that that's a problem. I think that that's a problem. And so the questions that I asked were this. One, what's the funding source? And so when I walked through with UNF, stadium, TDC dollars, there's $7 million sitting in the TDC account. Those dollars can only be, it comes from the bed tax. So those dollars are restricted. They can only be used for stadiums and tourism events. So there was, okay, I get it. There's a lane. Money's now for a field. That is an improvement to quality of life, parks and recs. I know for a fact, I-9's out there using it. I know for a fact, you have like the high school basketball championship, state championships coming out there. I can list the numerous amounts of events that our community is able to go onto that campus and utilize those facilities. Learned a lot of that, one, from personal experience, and two, from my talks with them. FSCJ had a little bit of heartburn, but I said, okay, what is happening inside of it? Where we're doing workforce development training, open to Duval County people, programming that is scheduled to attract people into it, not hope that they just walk off the street, come in and tally. I said, okay, not as excited about it, but I can see the lane. I can't tell you anything about EWU because I haven't heard from them. I see President Newby in the audience, and are you representing EWU now? So yes, I'll bring you up in 1 second. But I have not heard, and what I was told the public use would be a convention center built. This is hearsay still. And so when I hear the word convention center, as one that was very much a strong proponent of trying to do a convention center by the Hyatt, level B, class B convention center, one of the biggest things that the pushbacks that I got back from the current administration at the time, and it made sense. They said, where are the food places? Think about when you travel to cities and you go to conventions, you can walk out of that convention, turn right, turn left, and have options of places to eat. Where are the hotels? Are they in close proximity? So I was like, I'm not quite understanding convention center in a location that we lack the infrastructure. And then the last part was the public use when it came to dorms. If we're in the business of building dorms, utilizing taxpayer dollars, that then becomes a challenge for me. And the challenge becomes in 2018 or 19, we did $9 million, built the field for them, which has a public use. The Armada uses the field. I'm sure high schools use the field. I want to say a weight room's come through, which is kind of a community center because we had hypertension, diabetes. I can list the numerous health concerns that we have in Health Zone 1, which is that area. And so I could qualify that. I'm like, okay, I have yet to be able to connect workforce or the community use to a convention center and to dorms. And so to ask for me right now to approve it, and I could be mistaken here when I heard that there was also hearsay again. I wish that I would have had a chance. I don't like doing this. I'd much rather meet in my office, make myself vulnerable and expose what I don't know than have to sit up here now and ask these tough questions. But I've heard that $30 million was coming from the federal government. What are those dollars for? We can only spend so much money in a year. And so I hear about reimbursements and I hear all those things. To me, that sounds like then this bill could come back at that time, not necessarily come right now because we're lumping it in a big bill and we aren't going to have the courage to take up the tough discussion of is now the right time to afford to appropriate $3 million when we can do it 6 months from now. So I'm going to be a no on the substitute right now. I'm going to offer some amendments because the last piece is this, picking winners and losers. When you're looking at our trades, NEFPA, love them. NEFPA does a ton of work, and then you look at the building, and they have a lot of industries, and those individuals are non-union. That's fine. They offer a huge value to our community. Their tax base is, they're going to feed our tax base. But there's another group that's just as large, if not larger. Your plumbers, your pipe fitters, your sheet metal, your iron workers, your electricians. You have all of those, and they're not included. But I've heard from the last meeting that $3 million is going to go to rent relief and eviction. All programs that started with COVID dollars. And I, for one, stood up and said, when we vote yes for this, folks are going to start thinking that this is a standard process for us. And that now there's an entitlement kind of feeling of we deserve these dollars every time because we've done it in the past utilizing federal dollars. It's a whole different game now. We're using our money for it. And I've been told that now, out of this bill, and through the chair to Councilman Salem, please correct me if I'm wrong, that $3 million, if they find any savings with UNF, those dollars are going to rent relief and to eviction. Have you heard anything with that? Councilman Carlucci's filing a bill for that.
May I respond?
Oh, is it? Please do.
The $3 million I think you're referring to is the money that we would take from TDC. Of the $7 million you mentioned, we would have a bill to pull $3 million out, and of that $3 million, it's still up for debate on how that money would be used. Councilman Matt Carlucci is clearly targeting affordable housing. I have stated on the record that it should go towards a budget stabilization fund for the budget. That's my preference, and I think the intent is to discuss that at finance tomorrow.
And that lies another problem for me, right? Because I sat in that notice meeting, and Councilmember Carlucci sacrificed his time to be there, and he asked if UNF, who asked for $6 million, were able to find $3 million through TDC or whatever that number is, then that frees up $3 million in this 15. Would there be an appetite for affordable housing? And I'm not quite, Councilmember Miller, you were there. The sentiment that I got from the bill sponsor was that he would not have an issue with that. Now, he may not support it, but he may not have an issue with that. To me, that means then I need to pull that out. I need that bill to stand alone. If we're saying that we're going to debate something later, why are we lumping it into one big bill? Why are we lumping it in? If we're going to debate it later, why are we lumping it into one big bill? And to me, I'm just troubled by just the large, not the items on it. Many of them I will support, but in the format that it's in right now, and now with the caveat we're going to come back and debate later, I went through that song and dance during the COVID process, and I see where that has landed us. I'm not going to go through it anymore moving forward. So I'm going to be a no on the substitute, and I'll be offering some amendments to make sure that the pipe fitters and the plumbers, that they're included into this, and I'll share later where I think I should get the money from.
Yes, Past President Newby, since it was brought up by Past President Freeman about you possibly speaking, also the doctor as well, certainly open to that. Don't want to leave that hanging. So please, sir, your name and address for the record, please.
Sam Newby, 220 Riverside Avenue. Yeah, I did have a conversation with Councilman Freeman. I'm an alumnus of EWU, but I do not work for EWU. So me and Councilman Freeman did have a conversation. I thought I explained as well as I could about what EWU was doing with the money, but I am not, and I'm going to put it on record. I do not work for EWU. I'm just an alumnus, and I do kind of advise the president, but I'm not a member of the workforce for EWU. But I did have a conversation with Councilman Freeman, and I kind of tried to explain it the best as I could. But Dr. West can explain it a little bit better if y'all give him the opportunity.
Yes, please go ahead. If you had some comments, since it was brought up in the comments, and so I just want to open it up for you before we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Miller. Dr. Michael West, Vice President for Operations at Edward Waters University, here in regard to 2025-0781. I think when I look at the as substituted 4.D and 4.E, I would assert that once 4.D goes into effect, $6 million from fiscal year 26-27 is removed from the current bill as written, that it would completely change the lens through which 4.E should be considered. 4.D is $6 million for fiscal year 26-27. We agreed this morning, as well as other conversations, that we're focused really on 25-26, which is the 2.675 million, and that money, not as a percentage of anything, that money specifically would go towards design, reconstruction, and permitting for this project. With respect to federal funding, we have a term sheet from the HBCU capital finance group, which is through DOE, but we have a term sheet for $40 million. And so our executive team and our board are reviewing that right now for this morning, possibly another 4 to 5 weeks as we go through to make sure we're not just taking what we qualify for, but we're looking at what we can afford. So based on the calculations from the city auditor this morning, the 2.675 million would only represent about 6% of the entire project if it is in fact.
Okay, thank you. I believe Past President Freeman has a question for you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and then we'll get this before us with a vote, and then we can discuss it. But through the chair to the president, I'm sorry I didn't get your name down. Can you share with me what part of this program would fall into the bucket of workforce, or can you share with me what part of this falls into the bucket of public use?
So the convention, it's basically a community conference center versus more of a traditional convention center. It is a facility that happens to have residence halls off to the sides of it for in-school year use. However, the goal is during off-season and non-compulsory times during the year, those rooms would be available for any kind of conference or convention type use. The conference center itself would be for public as well as Edward Waters University use. So we have our Center for the Prevention of Health Disparities, which would be right next door to where this facility is proposed. That would help us expand and grow our influence within the community, as well as expand and grow our opportunities with the Shell Suite Resource Center in the same facility. So it would be roughly 18,000 square foot conference center that would allow multiple uses. So whether it's recidivism, alcoholism, drug use, education. We do quite a bit of research on campus, of course, related to public health, bringing those fora to that particular community center and really growing the opportunity for what we already do on campus in partnership with the city to expand.
Okay, thank you. I'm not sure I heard anything for workforce per se, but we'll get back to it when the bill gets in front of us. And I really hope that you take from my comments, at least, this shouldn't be how we first meet. It should be in my office, or I'll come to your office. I mean, it doesn't matter to me, and I can sit down with pen and paper and ask these types of questions and leave with an understanding of exactly what the ask is, more so than just money. I mean, I really want us to get beyond the point where groups just show up and think that it's going to be rubber stamped. These taxpayer dollars, they matter to the taxpayers that we took them from. And as one that loves being out in the community, I need to be able to explain to them the reason why I stand behind a vote or not. So thank you so much for that. I've moved the neighborhood's substitute so we can get it in front of us.
Thank you, Doctor. So now, Michelle, we're ready for a voice vote on the substitute. Is that correct?
Through the chair, that's correct. And if that passes, then you can entertain various amendments to it if committee members want to introduce those, or somebody can move the substitute move the bill as substituted.
Okay. We'll try first a voice vote, and then we'll use hands if it's not real clear. All those in favor of the neighborhood substitute, please signify by saying yes. All those opposed, no. No. I think we have 5 to 2, I believe, by my ears, if that's correct. So the substitute passes. Okay, we have Past President Freeman.
Move the bill as substituted.
Oh, we have a motion second on the bill as substituted, and we have Past President Freeman on the queue. You're recognized.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. And I hate this because I'm not quite sure where I'm going to land. I'm going to try to talk through this, but when I look at the organizations I see I'm fine with UNF because I understand the concessions. I understand TDC dollars going towards what they're doing. I understand the public use. I am not going to be okay with TDC dollars freeing up and then us trying to take money to do any type of initiatives that have already been put into the budget once and move forward. So if anything in this bill is saying that, I want to offer an amendment to make sure that that doesn't happen. That's going to be one thing that I'm going to say. And I think that that should come back in a separate bill, not a part of this. When FSCJ, they've walked me through the whole process. I understand the building. I understand the work that's going to happen in it. I talked to the auditors today. They got me in a better place on the when the timeline starts and those things, that type of nature. So check the box. I'm fine with that. Absolutely love the true workforce development piece as well. That's coming in that Council President, past President Newby was here for and engaged in. But I'm still challenged with EWU. And I wish I'd had a chance to talk to them because I heard classrooms around, and I get it. When you have a convention, you have breakout sessions. When you have a conference, usually you just have it in the conference room. Everyone comes in, the speakers all come into that room, you speak, you meet, and you leave. So I'm trying to understand the value of the classrooms around it. One of the first thoughts that popped in my head is, what's the cost of those classrooms? Is that a savings that we can make and that we can take? My end goal is this. I want to find, if we're giving $1 million to one group in the trades, I want to give $1 million to both groups in the trades. So I'm trying to find another $1 million to say that that's right. I want to do that. I'm not quite sure where that's coming from, but because it's in this bill with NEFA is why I'm trying to include that into this bill. Or else they advise me to bring, hey, you can bring another bill forward. I'm like, no. This is where I think the process is kind of flipped. Apples to apples. I do not want to take money away from UNF. I do not want to take money away from FSCJ. I do not want to take money away from NEFA. And I do not want to take money away from the Workforce Coalition. Where I'm going to recommend and advise taking money away from is from the group that didn't choose to meet with me. Because I don't know exactly what they're standing on. I can't find the workforce piece. And I truly, when we look at the community benefit, we built a weight room, we built a football stadium. They have that already. I'm not seeing where that's coming from. So through the chair to the auditors, do we have a breakdown of what those costs are for the conference center and the rooms? Because there may be a lane to leave some there for the conference center, and then what's the extra for dorms? And by the way, in the $9 million that we gave them in 2018 and 19, we built dorms. Because at the time there was a news story that was running where the dorms just weren't in the best position, and that was when our favorite President Glover was there, and he came and made the plea to us as a council, and we understood the challenges that they were going through at the time, and we said, you know what, we will do it then. So now we're back here 6 years later, and we want more money for dorms, but I don't hear the same challenges being brought forth. I hear a conference center or a convention center.
Through the chair to Councilmember Freeman, I'm not aware of any project-specific details that have been released. In the term sheet, the city does have the authority to review all design and material specification submittals for the facility and should be consulted on any cost reduction or value engineering proposals, but to my knowledge, I don't know that the city has seen any of those to date.
Okay, so I'm going to also make an amendment then to pull EWU out as a separate bill for further discussion, but to take $1 million from that portion and add it to workforce development for the coalition. I don't see Lance in the room, nor Kirk Bars. Is there a representative from any of the union contractors here or vendors? Got it.
They were here for neighbors.
Yeah, and so they didn't want to go.
And they spoke of public comments, but also I'm not introducing this amendment yet because we aren't there yet. But I've put a handout on your desk. It was there this morning as well as it is now, and I think it goes right in line with what you were talking about. So I just want to let you know there's that information is available, and if we get to that point, I'm going to turn over the gavel and recommend an amendment.
Got it. And I want to be clear, and what Jacksonville plumbers, pipe fitters, joint apprenticeship programs. I'm not as familiar. I haven't read through this yet, but the group that I am referring to in the coalition, yep, this is it, Kirk Barris. This is the group I'm talking about. So if you give $1 million, and I asked them for numbers. I know in the electrical world, we have 2 cohorts a year, minimum of 100 people. Each one has had well over 300 each time go through. That's a force multiplier. So I can go from electrical, I can go to sheetrock, I can go to drywall, I can go to plumbing, and you can aggregate a number that tells you if we invest here, it's thousands of people we're putting into the trades as apprentice, meaning they're coming out as licensed journeymen. In the electrical world, a licensed journeyman is making $93,000 a year with benefits, with a pension, which changes the game for our citizens in Duval County. So my recommendation would be the Jacksonville Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Joint Apprenticeship and Training Trust receive $1 million, reduce EWU by $1 million, so they're still getting money, or remove them from it. I mean, I want to leave that up for discussion first, but I would say I would reduce EWU by $1 million and add this group here to get it.
Michelle, we have a motion and second on that amendment. Just we're looking for some guidance here.
Yeah, through the chair to the committee. So just food for thought, if you are going to add a new organization that you're going to be appropriating money to, that would need to be re-referred and re-noticed. So that's just something to consider. Okay.
Thank you. Through the chair to Michelle, the ultimate goal is to get it right. So if re-referring it, which is what was done by the bill sponsor last time at his own will, was fine then, and we had meetings, and this was brought up during the meeting, but not addressed in this piece of legislation, I am all for re-referring it, and let's have this debate again of why we're leaving groups out. And then it also give me a chance to meet with EWU in my office, and maybe I leave from there feeling good, and now I got to go try to find more money to figure all of this out. So I'm all for a re-referral, and I will just leave that up there for discussion.
We'll go next to Councilmember Amaro, please.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. The 2 difficult pieces in this legislation are just those 2 that are being addressed right now. The trades, which when the bill was created, obviously Northeast Florida Builders was on mind, and then here comes the other organizations, basically in plain talk, saying why weren't we included? They see money and they feel that they're doing a good work and they should get a part of it. The other difficult part was the EWU piece, which just may, on the sideline, keep asking myself, public purpose. I mean, how do we benefit as a public from putting money into a private institution? What gave me comfort this morning was the clawback, the fact that there are provisions in place that if certain thresholds and certain dates and certain things are not accomplished, then the city is reimbursed 100%. Does it make me completely comfortable? No. But I see a provision where we're protecting taxpayers' money. The bill sponsor is not here, even though his nameplate is there, so I wish he was here to just get his temperature on a move to re-refer and trying to iron out these 2 pieces.
We'll go next to Past President Salem, please. You're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. So much to say. As I said in neighborhoods, which seems days ago, that I have supported universities throughout my tenure on the council, the law school at JU, past expenditures at EWU, et cetera, and I'd like to support this bill as it stands. It's not perfect by any means. If I were designing it myself, I would have made some changes, but that's where we are today. Now, I know the plumbers and pipe fitters have come forward at 2 or 3 different committee meetings. I have talked to them. I'm impressed by them. And I think what they have done a good job of is said, next time they're going to be included. And I think they've made that case, and to many of us on the council, that we want to make sure if we have a similar effort in the future that they're leading that charge. So it would be my choice to, I will not be supporting the amendment on the floor and would like to see this move as it is. I think the community center, and there seems to be a lot of focus on EWU, and I spent quite a bit of time this morning on EWU, clawbacks, making sure that community center can be built with our 2.7, and they have a loan for the rest of it for the $40 million total cost. I believe the community can get a lot of use out of that, a facility such as that in that part of town. So, in summary, I'm going to vote, I won't be supporting the amendment, even though I think it's very well-intentioned, and would like to see this bill move as it is, and we keep the pipe fitters and plumbers program in mind as we look forward for workforce development dollars in the future. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Past President Freeman again.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I will say, as the chair, you do have the right, if we have questions, and through the chair to Councilman Arias, he mentioned Amero, he mentioned he wished that the bill sponsor was here to get his temperature on it. Again, if we start talking about traditions up here and how the standard order of procedures go, usually when there are questions, we hit pause. If Councilman Salem had a bill before us that is this big, an omnibus bill, $15 million, and folks were talking about changing it, we would have all hit the brakes and said, if Councilman Salem's not here to tell us how he feels, then we probably, out of respect, should hold back on it. So through the chair to Councilman Salem, I'm a little perplexed that you're willing to support it, knowing that you've sat in that seat of leadership where I've watched you do that for other members. $15 million is a lot of money, one, but split with 6 different things or 4 or 5 different things here, with a couple of them, one of them in particular, having a lot of questions to the point where we have to do clawbacks to get comfortable. Why are we debating finding a way to get the comfort level to rush to get something done when we can take our time, we can have all the questions answered? And I'll close simply with this, and this will kind of give me an idea of where this council is now and where it'll go as we continue on with future leadership. I have yet to meet with EWU. I wasn't the only one. Many of you are sitting up here making a decision because they took the time, or someone took the time to get you smart on it. So they're counting you as a yes. But they didn't care to call me, Councilmember, through the chair to Councilmember Gay. Did they reach out to you, Councilmember Gay? If they did, that's good. Have they scheduled a meeting? No. I just want to get beyond. I just want to get beyond this point where outside influencers can look at us, try to count their votes, and then decide who they want to meet with. We're all equal votes up here. We're all representing the constituency here. I would say if the bill sponsor's not here, it's a great opportunity for us to re-refer and hear his thoughts on what are these amendments that we're making.
Thank you. Before I go to Councilmember Gay, I just wanted to make an adjustment on what I think was how things were couched as far as the plumbers and pipe fitters and electrical representatives that were here this morning. They didn't say, we're good, just include us next time. They said just the opposite. They said, there's time now, include us now, please. You have time while this is going through the committees to include us now. That's what they actually said this morning. So I wanted to make that correction, that adjustment. That's what they really said. And so we'll go next to Councilmember Gay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And we're on the amendment, not the bill just yet. So all along I've stood in support of getting all of our apprenticeships, our workforce developments funded, that not any should be left out. And that's I support Councilman Freeman's amendment on this, that, we look at affordable housing, it gets back to you never get the result without the means. And so the means of affordable housing is our workforce development, is making sure we're putting all of our trades first and foremost. And that's where I think that this amendment we need to support and the validity of it. And so that's my thoughts on the amendment, and I'll be supporting that. Thank
you. Past President Freeman.
Through the chair to Councilmember Salem, would you be opposed to a re-referral, and so that I get a chance to meet with EWU and discuss the path forward? Because we are holding it up for the ones that I'm okay with and everybody else is okay with. But the two sticking issues here are dollars for the apprenticeship programs and the public use / workforce from EWU. So I got another amendment I'm thinking about offering afterwards, if not. But are you okay with the referral here, or would you, without the bill sponsor being here?
Oh, yes. Yes, please. Past President Salem, please.
Councilman Arias was here in neighborhoods. I spoke quite a bit and had a number of questions. I feel comfortable with where we are. Yes, and let me correct, the plumbers and pipe fitters did say at the committee this morning that they felt it was time to do it. I think in previous meetings we gave them the impression that we would look at them in the future. My biggest concern is this bill totally unraveling if we go through this process.
Excuse me, but can I, just on my question though, are you okay, would you
Please
be
go
okay
ahead.
with the re-referral? Because amendments are about to be voted on, and the bill sponsor has not weighed in on how he feels about the amendment. I don't think you're able to speak to how he feels about it. I don't think any of us should be able to speak on how he feels about it. Normally, Councilmember Boylan, you throw in some type of wise thoughts or comments through the chair, but we have our attorney in the queue. But if you want to get in the queue and let him know, I'd love to hear your thoughts as well, because I do want to see us get to a play. No, I asked a question. It's my floor still. Okay. I was just asking a question, and I wanted to make sure.
You've had the floor quite a long time, my friend. Through the chair to Councilmember Freeman, actually, there's a differentiation between
We're getting way out of hand now. We're way out of control. We're just cross-talking, and nobody's in the queue. So if you want to, please be in the queue, and we'll try to control it a little bit more. Okay.
I was responding to the comment. I wasn't recognized, so I apologize.
Okay. Yeah. Please go ahead.
Ms. Shell, just to confirm, there's a differentiation between a re-referral and a deferral. What we've got right now on the floor is an amendment which would cause a re-referral. But what we're looking to do right now is deferring the bill to allow the introducer of the bill to speak to the concerns that you raised now and perhaps your other concerns. Michelle, am I correct in? And so if that is that correct? Through the chair.
Through the chair to Councilmember Boylan, that is correct. The one thing I will note, another option and another path forward, just taking what you've said so far today, is if you wanted to amend the Freeman Amendment to remove Edward Waters and just park those funds in a contingency, this bill could move forward, and that would be a path forward to keep this going, and then that money would be parked in a contingency account, and you could sort out and introduce legislation to appropriate that at a later time.
Mr. Chair, if I may proceed.
Please.
Yeah, so you heard the two options, actually three options. Re-refer with your amendment, we take up your amendment. Secondly, withdraw your amendment and defer the bill. Or thirdly, as Michelle said, move forward, take EW out of it, and move the bill in that fashion. So I'm responding to your question. Those are the answers I give you.
Please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And that scratches about 90% of the itch. I still, in that process, it does not include $1 million for the joint. And so I do want to see the other ones move forward because they have done the necessary work and legwork to get to a position where I'm comfortable voting and I have a better understanding. I have a clear understanding of how those dollars are being appropriated, how they're going to be used, and the measures that have been put back in place to protect the taxpayer dollars. I would like, and I still will say it, I would like for $1 million of the dollars from EWU to go towards this joint organization. And through the chair to Michelle, if we did that on the floor today, you said that would be a challenge and would need to be re-referred. Am I correct?
Through the chair to Councilmember Freeman, yes, that's correct. It would need to be re-referred and re-noticed.
I'm not going to be comfortable moving forward unless they're added into this. If it's going to stay an omnibus bill, then they need to be a part of it. So I don't necessarily think that that vote would pass one. Maybe it would. Or I'll withdraw my amendment through the chair if you're willing to offer an amendment to Councilmember Boylan on the part that you just said.
Chair, through the chair, again, my suggestion is that we defer the bill if you withdraw it. So Councilman Arias, the introducer of the bill, can come and speak to your concerns tomorrow at Finance. That's where it should be resolved anyway.
That is my inclination right now, and I get all the points that have been made. I do want to go to Councilmember Salem, please.
Thank you, Chair. Through the chair to Michelle. The president has the option of taking what happened in neighborhoods and moving that to the council, correct? If that's what he chooses to do, irrespective of what we do here, because this bill passed in neighborhoods.
That's correct. If you defer it, the council president can discharge it and take it up at council.
Okay, so just want to throw that on the table. Don't know what he'll do, but that's a fourth option, I think, to what Councilman Boylan said. As I said, I'm comfortable with the bill, understanding that we will help the plumbers and pipe fitters at a future date. I hear we're only pulling EWU right now, but it just concerns me. I reached out. It sounds like Councilman Arias is not available this afternoon to be here. I wish he was, but I would like to see the bill move forward. Thank you.
Michelle, you were on the queue. I want to make sure we didn't miss something else.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd just like to respond to that. It's my understanding that the introducer of this bill is opposed to the amendment and wishes it to be taken up as substituted at neighborhoods.
Thank you. Back to Past President Freeman, please.
All right, thank you, and that helps because I was going to say, we're looking for strong leadership on this council, and so if a debated issue like this on one of your more prominent committees is held, and if it were deferred in this committee and then brought back out before the council, that to be again would be a precedent set. $15 million is more than a little bit. We're not talking 200,000. We're not talking 500,000. We're talking $15 million. So I would really, I'm gonna still put my amendment forward because, one, again, and I pray this doesn't happen to you all, and I'm pretty sure if it happened to Councilmember Salem through the chair, you would probably be in the same position I'm in right now, where you would hold it up and you would ask for them to come meet with you. I have yet to get a phone call from a representative from EWU. I proactively called Past President Salem. I want this to sink in with you all. And I promise you, if I were sitting in this seat, just like I took a stand for Councilmember Johnson, I'm not saying I support what he's doing with the SNAP program, but he asked. So again, we're going to start setting precedents up here, and we're going to start seeing the continuity that this body once had start to ravel, and I don't understand why. I don't understand why. So I'm going to make my amendment that we move this bill forward minus EWU until I have a chance to meet with representatives from EWU 1. 2, I am going to also offer in the same amendment that $1 million from the EWU, because I haven't heard back and it could be changed later, go towards the joint apprenticeship programs So now the two concerns I had, one, I haven't had a chance to meet with them. I get a chance to meet. Two, the joint apprenticeship programs are now a part of the conversation. And I think that that is a win. It can come back. It can be undone. Everything can still move forward. And I lose, and that's fine. But at least now I feel like I'm a part of the process, because as of right now, I've been a part of the process with FSCJ, with EWU, with the Workforce Development Department. I have not been a part of the process with EWU. And when I look at the makeup of this council, have you been through the chair, the Councilmember Amero? Have you been have you had a meeting with them at all? I find that strange. I find that so strange that a historical black institution that I've been a huge proponent of, Councilman Glover, I should say President Glover at the time, is a huge mentor of mine. But they haven't reached out to two African-American members on this dais. Just let that sink in. I don't understand that. So that's my amendment. Can you please make it clear in case they didn't understand it?
Michelle, please.
Mr. Chair, did you want me to restate that amendment?
Please do.
Okay, the Freeman amendment is to remove Edward Waters University and to give $1 million to the Jacksonville Plumbers and Pipefitters Joint Apprenticeship and Training Trust. And if that amendment to the substitute passes, I would ask for leave to work with them on a term sheet.
Second. Anyone queued for discussion? Yes, Councilmember Morrow, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Playing by the same rules that we extended to Councilmember Johnson, I just don't think we should change the bill without the sponsor being present. It was offered to deferred. If we're going to be going back and forth, then we should defer it and then let it get cleaned up in finance tomorrow. So those are my thoughts.
You good? Thank you, sir. I think I can land the plane for now. I am going to defer this, given what's been said, taking it all in. I'm going to defer it. I mean, no slight on Councilmember Arias, but as was stated, this is a big bill, and I realize most of us had these exchanges this morning with him this morning in neighborhoods, but Councilmember Freeman did not. So this is part of the process. You come to the committee. He's not been able to, and I'm sure there's a real good reason why he wasn't able to. I don't want to, say anything other than just the obvious. He wasn't able to be here. So for that reason, and there are some other things, and I must say, when we talked about TDC dollars, $3 million to $6 million, and that's not come up yet, and I can guarantee you it's coming up. But where in the process is it going to come up? After two committees have already met on this bill. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but don't you think that's an important part of consideration for these specifics of the bill and any possible amendments that someone would like to make? Because again, this shouldn't be an all or nothing thing. 19 members represent the whole city. This money comes from the taxpayers. And again, we have a $62 million deficit next year. We better be very serious and focused. And this is, I'm sorry, all over the map, these items that are listed on here. And I'm sure very good projects, as I said this morning. So I'm going to defer this, and then we'll go from there. And yes, we understand the president can discharge it, but boy, in my opinion, it'd be a shame for a member here of our committee to not go through that process, and for us not to include TDC, possible $3 million coming out of UNF. And then what does that do for $3 million more? I've heard there's a colleague that has something that he would like to propose for that additional $3 million. Some of us have amendments, just like Councilmember Freeman and I. We ended up in the same place. Amazing, because obviously no coordination to be able to help the broader skilled trades area. And as was stated this morning, let me make this sink in. 1,500 workers that are covered by this organization, and 1/3, 500 of them, will be aging out in the next 5 years. If we don't get additional young men and women in that pipeline that takes 4 to 5 years, depending on the apprenticeship program, if we don't get them in that pipeline, we are hurting all of our different companies, development, other things related to this. And NEFPA, all for it, expansion, that's an important part, but there are other organizations such as the Jacksonville Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Joint Apprenticeship and Training Trust, and their building expansion that's going on right now that you have the handouts for. So for those reasons, I'm going to defer this, and let's adhere to the process, give time for Councilmember Freeman to interact with Edward Waters, for others to say, okay, what's going on here? And again, if that TDC subject doesn't come up until finance, I got to say I'm disappointed. I'm very disappointed if that's when it comes up, when we should have had the opportunity to have that discussion, and in these dollars when we're talking $3 million. So anyhow, Councilmember Freeman.
No, thank you, Mr. Chair. And as I've stated before, I'm good with those who've met with me and would be ready to take action on those today, would welcome taking a vote on those next Tuesday. And that is because they took the steps. I'm one of 19, I get it, so that's fine. I want to be clear. It was put on the record that the president can discharge it, and he can. And sitting on this dais right now, we have 3 past presidents. I can tell you the number of times that I discharged something that was this controversial, this much debate, and it starts with 0. So my confidence is in our leadership and our president that's not going to discharge this, because there's still work to be done on it. If he does discharge it, I'll be prepared, and it'll be a long night, because I'm going to have numerous amendments to do what to do with that $3 million, and we're going to be debating on where that $3 million should go. And I got a feeling that we don't have an appetite for that as a council. Per Council President, past President Salem used to always say, no committee work on council nights. If he discharges this, you're basically encouraging committee work, because, well, you again, with first termers, and he's a great leader, but when you put options out there, they may not have the history. And so I'm just saying, I will make sure I have about 10 or 15 amendments, because I got a lot of groups that have asked me for money in the budget cycle, and I was on the outside looking in, which is fine. And we'll have to take those votes up on what we think should be done. Whereas right now, what I'm saying is I want EW to get money. I want the pipe fitters to be joined in with them. Separate the bills, we move forward with it, and we can go. Wasn't an appetite for it. Bill's sponsor wasn't here to say if he agreed or disagreed. And so now we're opening the door up for some committee work on next Tuesday. Thank you.
Okay. I think we've hit this from every angle. As I stated, for the reasons that I mentioned and others have commented on, I am deferring this. Thanks for the lively discussion and input, and we'll move on. We've already taken up items 6 and 7 and 8 and 9, so that takes us to item 10, 2025-0810. We have a motion on the Neighborhoods Amendment. Do I have a second? We have a motion second on Neighborhoods Amendment. Would you please explain the amendment?
Through the chair to the committee, the neighborhood amendment included a provision that 2 or more non-governmental organizations may jointly request $25,000 or more, but individually receive less than the $25,000 being required in the bill.
Thank you very much. As President Salem as the introducer, do you have anything to add to this, or we go to a vote? Okay. All right. Thank you. All those in favor of the Neighborhoods Amendment, please signify by saying yes. All those opposed, no. The amendment passes. I have a motion and second on the bill as amended. No one in the queue, please open the ballot and record your vote.
Seven yeas, zero nays.
By your action, you've approved 2025-0810 as amended in neighborhoods. Item 11 is 2025-0811 is deferred at the request of Councilmember Arias. Item number 12, 2025-0813. I have a motion and second on the amendment. Would you please explain the amendment, Ms. Carher?
Through the chair to the committee, the amendment will clarify the funding source for the appropriation as general fund operating reserves, will include the BT number within the bill, correct some Scrivener's errors, and attach a revised Exhibit 1 to include the correct version of the settlement agreement.
Thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying yes. All those opposed, no. The amendment passes. Do I have a motion and second on the bill as amended? Okay, I have a motion and second on the bill as amended. No one in the queue, please open the ballot and record your vote.
Seven yeas, zero nays.
By your action, you've approved 2025-0813 as amended. Item number 13, 2025-0815. We have a motion and second on the neighborhoods amendment. Ms. Carahar, would you please explain the neighborhoods amendment, please?
Through the chair to the committee, the neighborhoods amendment will correct the current annual rent for the Marina Support Building from $1 to $100 a year. Will include missing section 3 and 4 within the bill, correct some Scrivener's errors, place revised agreements on file to revise the hotel RDA to update the description of the Marina Support Building consistent with the changes being made to that lease agreement, mainly just reduce the square footage. We'll update addresses from Gator Bowl Boulevard to East Bay Street as needed, clarify the timeline for the option to enter into the Marina Management Agreement and Marina Support Building lease. That's a period of 18 to 6 months prior to completion of the marina. We'll clarify the deadline for the completion of marina improvements, bulkhead improvements, pier improvements, and riverwalk improvements. We'll strike some conflicting language regarding the developer's responsibility for funding the cost of the traffic calming improvements. We'll clarify the developer's contribution for the traffic calming improvements will occur at completion of that project. We'll revise the Marina Support Building lease to reference the second amended and restated hotel RDA, update addresses from Gator Bowl Boulevard to East Bay Street as needed, require 30 days notice by the tenant for scheduling large events on the events lawn. We'll include a definition of capital repair and capital maintenance. We'll revise the Marina Management Agreement to reference the second amended and restated hotel RDA within the whereas clauses. We'll revise the Riverwalk Improvements Cost Disbursement Agreement to correct some Scrivener's errors. We'll remove the Office Building Redevelopment Agreement and duplicate copies of exhibits in the on-file document. And lastly, include the disbursement request form, which is Exhibit Z to the hotel RDA, which was left out of the file document.
Is that all? Thank you. Seeing no one in the queue, all those in favor of the neighborhoods amendment, please signify by saying yes. All those opposed, no. The neighborhoods amendment passes. I think it's my understanding we do have another amendment. No, there's not another amendment. Okay. I have a motion and second on the bill as amended. No one in the queue, please open the ballot and record your vote.
Seven yeas, zero nays.
By your actions, you've approved 2025-0815 as amended in neighborhoods. And we have past President Salem has a comment here.
Mr. Sawyer, before you walk out, there was quite a bit of discussion of you working on another amendment for this. And are you working on another amendment? And will that come up in finance? Is that the plan?
John Sawyer, Office of General Counsel, through the chair to Councilmember Salem. I'm not working on any amendment. The DA may work with a council member to file an amendment, or Mr. DiBino on behalf of his client may. There's no such thing as a Sawyer amendment. I understood an amendment would have been offered today, so I'm surprised nothing was offered.
If I could, Mr. Chair, I probably am the one that said the Sawyer Amendment. What I meant by that was that we had worked on something that was prepared. The council auditor, Philip Peterson, has everything. He circulated it. We sent it to Councilman Boylan based on his comments earlier today. He hasn't had time to read it, and we'll take care of it at finance tomorrow. It's fine. But I apologize if that left the impression that Mr. Sawyer was supposed to have done something that was not done. I just called it the Sawyer Amendment because he is the last person that touched it. Anyway, I apologize for any confusion.
And if John, did not mean to suggest you've not done anything that you were supposed to do. Love you, and you're not the 20th councilman, and I clearly understand that. I know Steve and I had some discussions over the weekend, but I'm thoroughly confused at this point. But hopefully we'll get it tomorrow and get it straightened out.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I was getting ready to ask who's on first, what's on second. I don't know, third base. Okay, very good. Oh, you are? You're not showing for some reason. Okay, we'll go to Councilmember Boylan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Actually, I'm going to pass this hot potato to somebody else. So, in all seriousness, Steve did approach me just prior to the meeting about this amendment. I wasn't quite on board with it totally yet. I'm not saying against it. I just didn't comprehend it. Didn't feel comfortable in introducing it today. So I suggest they bring it to finance tomorrow.
Yeah,
thank you.
Makes full sense. Thank you very much. Okay, we've already taken up item number 14 and item number 15, 2025-0817 was deferred. Misunderstanding there, I think, about attendance. We've already taken up 16, so item number 17, 2025-0838 is on second. We go to item 18, 2025-0840. We have a motion second on the bill as an emergency, on the emergency. Seeing no one in the queue, all in favor of the emergency, please signify by saying yes. All those opposed, no. The emergency passes. We have a motion and second on the bill as an emergency. Seeing no one in the queue, please open the ballot and record your votes.
Seven yeas, 0 nays.
By your action, you've approved 2025-0840 as an emergency. Item number 19, 2025-0843 is on second. Item number 20, 2025-0844 is on second. Also 21, 2025-0846 is on second. Item 22, 2025-0847 is on second. 23, 2025-0848 is on second. Takes us to item 24, 2025-0849. We have a motion and second on the bill. Seeing no one in the queue, please open the ballot and record your vote.
Seven yeas, 0 nays.
By your action, you've approved 2025-0849. Item 25, 2025-0850. I have a motion and second on the bill. We'll go to Councilman Boylan. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to be as co-sponsor.
Thank you, sir. Seeing no one else in the queue, please open the ballot and record your vote.
Seven yeas, 0 nays.
By your action, you've approved 2025-0850. Item number 26, 2025-0851 is on second. Turning the page, item 27, 2025-0852 is also on second. Item 28, 2025-0853. We have a motion and second on the bill. Seeing no one on the queue, please open the ballot and record your vote.
Seven yeas, 0 nays.
By your action, you've approved 2025-0853. Item number 29, 2025-0856 is on second. Turn the page. We have already done item number 30. Asking the general counsel, auditor folks, anything else we need to cover? Anyone else, colleagues? A little bit of a crazy back and forth exercise today, but thank you all for being here and being such great teammates, and we are now adjourned.